Welcome to Evolve with
Greg
and Leah. And before we get started, this is part 2 of our spiritual evolution, which is episode 4, but it is exclusively only on the myslc.org website. So if you are actually listening to this, you've actually worked your way here. Yeah. We decided parts and pieces we would put it as exclusives on the website only.
Is there a cost involved?
No, to be part of the website, not currently. Maybe when we become these amazingly powerful, popular couple, we're going to start charging. So, I'm glad you said that. So I want to talk about this real quick. Our website, our YouTube channel, which is currently, as of this date, the only place we are posting our podcast. We have no views on our first episode of our spiritual evolution.
Wow, we're real popular, aren't we?
We're so freaking popular. And I told someone, I was sharing with them this the other day, and they're like, oh, so are you guys, how does that make you feel? Are you going to stop? And I'm like, no, we're having too much fun. And at some point, this could become something very popular. And like, who knows when in the future, someone will be like, oh, no views. Now it has millions of views. So there we are. And
billions
I don't care how many people are hearing it. I think at some point it will take off, but I think we're just having too much fun. We enjoy this process.
And it's also helping our process.
And yeah, it's actually really helping our process. And coming soon in future episodes, there's so much more we're going to talk about than just, our spiritual life, how we met, what's the point of us, and like not just about us and our relationship romantically, but just so many other avenues like food and money. Oh my gosh, which we had a story about that today, but we'll save that for another episode. All right, so let's actually, we're a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes now into this episode. Let's dive in to pick up where we left off. When we left off of episode 3, part 1 of our spiritual evolution process and what's happened to us, we were...
So for all those 0 viewers that were on the end of that one last podcast, we had a cliffhanger.
A cliffhanger for no one.
No one's hanging from the cliff. Tom Cruise, we let you down.
We're hanging from the cliff. I want to know what happens next, even though we lived it. So we left that episode saying how the people we were around, this next choice we made, even alarmed them. And I want to make this quick disclaimer, maybe, if it's a disclaimer, I don't know. But we said in the beginning of that other episode of the spiritual evolution, how our parents were raised, like your mother was Catholic and then went Baptist, my mother was Catholic and went Baptist. Anytime you change your religious beliefs within your family that differs from your family, everyone panics. Like they think, oh my God, she's going to hell now, because my Catholic family was very worried about my mom's change. I don't know if your mom has ever expressed like how her family felt that when she went to Baptist, like how your grandmother felt about that. But typically,
I really
people don't feel safe when their family members divulge and, diverge from the faith.
I think
they're brought with.
If you're just plain rapping on that, I think if I can remember, I was young when my mom decided to start going to the Baptist church and became born again. I don't think my grandparents took it well, but at the same time, I don't think that they... Down the road, I remember that they were also...
okay with it, or...
born again.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Okay. And that's where, like, I just wanted to say this disclaimer because, like, when we were in this position that we're about to say, and we made this paradigm shift, this belief shift, everyone gets so scared. And I'm just like, at this point in my life, and maybe you can say yay or nay, Gregory, that, like, I don't care if I change 1,000,000 times. I'm not worried about what others think about that at this point, because most of the time, later on down the line, people see, like, oh, you're not a whack job. You're still the same Greg and Leah that we knew the whole time, and we love you. So we've made changes in the last year that others wouldn't necessarily agree with what we're doing. But I just wanted to say that when we kind of make this change, because we end up, I think I shared in another episode, a friend of ours who gave us that DVD that started making us, like, resonating with us and questioning our ministry position. That same person gave us a book about the biblical feasts and stuff.
Right.
Like huge, like 500-page curriculum.
We started doing those feasts
as a homeschool.
As for a homeschool group, yeah.
Yep, as a homeschool group, and just for the fun, because they had Christian roots, and it's our history as Christians. Like, what were the festivals of the Old Testament? So Passover, which is probably the number one most known, like universally people know Passover.
Right.
They would also maybe know like Rosh Hashanah, or what's another big one that you can think that, gosh, now it's been so long since we have done those, I can't remember. But
Day of Atonement.
there's just, and they're all like, there are some spring festivals, there was some fall festivals. Fall was very big. So there was like, what, 4, bam, 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 that would fall right after each other. But anyways, we had this like 500, 1,000 page, I don't even know, workbook that was for children and families to work together. And remember, at this time at Victory, we were very much like, we don't need to segregate and pull the families apart when they walk in the door. So we were very excited that this was a curriculum that was all about families celebrating and believing and worshiping together.
And I think this book actually had mentioned something, or a website to go to, that was Christian, Jewish.
Oh, I'm sure.
Religion.
Yeah, they had a ton of
I
resources.
had never heard of such a thing. You were either Jewish, Christian, or
right.
Catholic, or all the
Jewish, Christian, Hindu.
I didn't
very
know that there was
yeah.
such a messianic Jewish type.
Like
following.
born again,
but then when
believing Jewish.
You think about it, that was what the followers, I guess, of Jesus were. But that kind of festivals, and so they're, yeah.
But we had a really great time. I mean, I still don't even regret that. We had so much fun doing different things.
Oh, decorating
with
the
that,
house, and
yeah.
It was like, it seemed the cultures of these, like
religions,
Jewish culture, or even a strong Italian culture, or America doesn't seem to have anything.
Well, we're a hodgepodge nation.
These were exciting to have.
Yeah.
A culture other than Christmas Christmas is so.
Well, when we started this, we were actually doing like traditional holidays and these biblical holidays.
Right.
But the more we started diving in, and like this book had resources like for kids for coloring pages and word searches, and then it had stuff for adults to, like you said, resources of like, check this website, check this person to learn more. And the more we started learning, the more we just were like, we're supposed to be doing these festivals. We're supposed to be. So the shift. Do you want to like reveal the great surprise?
The great surprise.
For our cliffhangers out there waiting.
If we were going to do something, we were going to do it 100%. And we dove straight into the Messianic Jewish beliefs.
Yeah.
And
really kind of left the beliefs in somewhat. I mean, in the time we felt we were adding to those beliefs. But we went and started reverting back to the Old Testament and doing more of a Hasidic or a Orthodox Jew, even kind of. It started getting that strict and extreme as time went on over a few years. We started diving in much more, but honestly,
I think the question that dove us in was the same question that got us out. What is sin? And so we thought sin was breaking the law. And then when we started following the law and finding that out, good God, that's impossible to do.
Oh, there's so many laws in the Old Testament. And then if you end up like in the extra biblical books, which we started discovering more books and more. There's Enoch and there's Tobias and there's Jonah and there's so many other books. We just dove in, especially you. You like love to study, which is interesting. You don't really like reading, but you loved to study.
If you got something worthwhile, but I mean, if you want to make a movie, I'll watch a movie.
Make it into a movie. So interesting though, like when we left ministry and we sat with that couple, go back to episode 1 of that, or part 1 of that, to find out that whole story. But like when we left that ministry, we weren't totally submersed yet into Messianic Judaism. No. We ended up just kind of leaving that location and feeling like, you know what, it was a far drive. We were going down there 4 times a week or 4 times. And then we ended up just like, let's look for something closer. And we ended up with returning to our roots of Baptist. Yeah. Because there was a really great, what we felt like was a good family-oriented church right down the street from us, literally. And we just loved how our kid was sitting with us. We did things together. He was with us the whole service. Because remember, there was no children's church during service. There was Sunday school at the beginning of the day.
No.
They didn't break away.
They did.
During service.
Are you sure? Because they were asking
No, that's why we loved it. Because we were like, we love that they don't break our children away from. We all are sitting together and learning.
I think we did that. I don't think that was the case.
But again, that's your history. I guess I have a different history.
You write your own
Sometimes
story,
that
baby.
happens. But we were at this cute little Baptist church, and really it had a nice connection. I feel like we bonded with people real quickly.
You and I were to be close with the pastors there rather
Yeah,
quickly.
just really quick, and really great people
I had a
too.
boat, so he had an RV.
Yeah, everyone loved fishing and outdoorsing, and
had a good
our
time.
kids connected.
Yeah,
it was good, but
it was
still
more for relationships than it was for religious stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
we were already on a mindset that we were done. But
So yeah, we went there because it was close to home and it was family oriented, which is what we were looking at and we were being led to. But we were still practicing these festivals and learning
I remember
more.
One of the
and
associate pastors telling me, because I was talking to him about festivals, and I think that we should start following the law, and he said, you could do that, but you will find yourself in a place of complete judgmental.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I said, oh, okay. And I just let that sit for a while. Never thought about it. But looking back.
Well, when that comes up in our story. So we ended up being there for a while. I'm not even sure how long. Maybe a year, maybe less. I'm not even sure. So when I say a while, it wasn't as long as the other places.
We left, but our relationship stayed because they had asked our company to
cut the grass and stuff like that, yeah. Which we were doing for the other church that we before too. So we still had relationships. They were never burned bridges.
I mean, even
everyone
today,
was still very
today,
good to us.
Get a Christmas card from
some of them, from way back when.
Yeah, it's
so
great to see
I don't.
Kids grow up and stuff.
Neither of us can remember how we ended up finding. Maybe we did a Google search of. We knew we kind of needed to find a messianic temple or a church or whatever. We didn't know because we were getting very, very, very into this. We were studying it daily. And of course, a Baptist church isn't going to take that route. So we knew, okay, well, we're not going to be here long. So we ended up finding something that was halfway between where we used to go and where we were going, so to speak. So it wasn't an hour away or 40 minutes away. Now it was 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
Very small fledgling, messianic connection, a
nice
congregation.
People, the congregation. But and that it was a 50-50 how that. So half of them were very strict on the Torah. Other half were Jews, actually, that never had followed the Torah to begin with, but they believed in Christ.
We're Jewish.
So they were So it was this. This
was an interesting mix.
And it was they were friendly enough, but there was a lot of. Well, there's a lot of politics happening as well. And conflict.
So we stayed there. I will say the first day we went, it was a Saturday, I think. And we were there for 6 hours at this service.
And
because they break bread and have a whole meal together.
All decked out in his garb, and his wife.
Looked like Christ.
Right. I was oh my God. That actually was the one guy that him and I became
really good friends.
Really good friends. And
there were people in the congregation who took it, you said, very serious, and they dressed very Jewish. They dressed very conservative, and then there were people who were they didn't care at all. But we ended up really just coming home that first time and being oh my God, this is it. We found our place, our space. These people are doing what we're learning. They're here. They're going to just pour into us, and we did learn a lot there.
We did learn a lot. Yes.
But we started recognizing signs to the first church that we met in with that signs of
manipulation and it's backdoor backbiting,
backhanded compliments, and just too familiar of a route we weren't willing to take again.
Information that wasn't personal information that was no one's business.
No one's business was being shared secretly.
Then come over and help. The whole God told me to tell you stuff.
We need you. They found everyone everywhere we'd go, people to find out we had experience with youth ministry and college ministry and children. So if they didn't have one, someone either in the positions or they didn't have a ministry for that age group, they immediately tackled us. Hey, you guys are so great. You got great energy. How about you want to lead this? And we'd be no, we're
after being in youth ministry
don't want to.
What? Almost
7, 8, 10 years. I don't even know
years.
at this point, but they did come to us, and we were no, there's no youth here to lead, and 2, no, we don't want to start that again. We came here because we believe in the family as a whole unit. So we were there maybe 6 months, and we were we're out.
So we went in. Actually, that's when this person who I thought
was the strangest of the congregation.
Or the strictest of the congregation.
Yeah. He came in with his like linen clothes and long hair and tzitzis, which if you've ever seen those, do you want to explain what that is? Or never seen those, yeah?
Tzitzits is what the Hebrew, probably I'm pronouncing it completely wrong, but they're the little tassels. Actually, in Scripture, it's where the lady with the issue of blood reached out and touched Jesus' garment. It's the Greek word refers back to what he was wearing at the time, and so the Jewish people wear these on the
like an Orthodox Jew, not all Jews, but certain sects
on the
of Jews.
four corners of their garments, and so
it's like strings hanging down on four corners. So that's what this gentleman who we end up connecting with. I don't even remember how that kind of happened, but we're all kind of like,
I think we were talking about guns or something else.
Well, we were just kind of with this couple, and we're like, we're not going to stay at this place. We're going to
really resonated with them. They were just
we love them a lot, and then he had been wanting to open up his house to have like home church at his place, but it just wasn't working. And then we got that bug, we got that buzz in our ear.
Learn from others, and there was we
open
built a
our
small
house.
little community that came over to our house and had our.
So we had our festivals. We met on Shabbat, which we believed at the time full-heartedly was Saturday. And we had our home gatherings for like a year and a half, maybe a little bit more, but I think it was around a year and a half because we were like, you know what? I don't think we need to go to churches or buildings to have these communities. Let's be like the Old Testament, the New Testament, where people met together in homes and broke bread. That's what we want to do. So we started that, did that for a year and a half. It grew to a decent size, and we had a small townhouse. It wasn't like we had some 4,000 or 5,000 square foot home that we could squeeze in. We had a small house.
It ended up where people were coming from across the nation sometimes just to come to our little community.
Especially if they were visiting our friend.
Visiting the service
if they were visiting our friend, because our friend had a YouTube channel and had like a diet and nutrition channel.
At a park that had a really big pavilion and had many of the festivals were quite large.
So why, in your memory, did we end up like saying no more to our house church?
Well, there were a couple reasons. It got to be an argument fest every time we would get together on what the law or the interpretation of it was.
And let me interject here. At this point, by this deep in, I'm wearing head coverings. I have my hair grown out. Like, no man can see my hair. Like, we take on, really, I will say, Orthodox, like, Hasidic, deep Jewish traditions. And you grew out your hair. Your beard was grown out. I only wore dresses. Or if I wore pants, I had, like, a skirt over the pants. I became very conservative. Even some of the meetings, because, like, some people had said, women just weren't supposed to speak, so I didn't talk or interject. And that
wasn't, but not, all these were choices that we individually
made.
Correct.
We made ourselves. No one forced me to do any of them by any means. I started wearing tzitzis. I remember telling this really good friend who helped us, this couple who started this home church with us, telling the wife, like, I have something to tell you. I'm so excited. I'm going to wear tzitzis. And it wasn't really a thing all women did. Like, it was mostly a man thing. And I saw that our relationship at that point disconnected, because what I didn't know is she was pulling away from this faith. So she saw me diving in more, and she just was like, I remember, like, no reaction. She was just like, okay. But go ahead. Why did...
So that I mean, and then it was whether you should wear tzitzits or whether you shouldn't wear tzitzits. And it just got to be a debate rather than fellowship.
So we felt drained by the end, and it was 12-hour days at our house.
It was all day.
And no one else. We thought at a point we would change houses and be like, let's meet at different people's house, but like no one opened their house. Like it was like when you make jokes about when you had pot as a young adult. It's like no one had pot because you were providing it. Yeah. So if you're providing it, no one will step up to the plate. So we're like, okay, well, I guess it's just going to be us. So like weekly, 12 hours, and then sometimes
there was a lot of drinking involved because they were.
There's nothing against drinking in the Old Testament.
Yeah, so and it became a single guys club almost.
Yeah, why did we get mostly single guys?
And that was
there was a few families, but
it started to get the friendships, it was there, and I'm not saying that I had some good solid
good times,
friendships with these people, but we at the time had to cut all of it off And a lot of them didn't understand.
Well, no, originally I think I remember saying, like, we're really tired. I sent out an email to the group and said, we've talked about sharing this as a host house, but no one's opened up. Like, we're really tired. We need a break. It's been a year and a half. No one stepped up to the plate. So he said, we're going to just close our house just for us to reset. A couple men, especially the single men, who they had nowhere. They had no one. They were like, no, please don't close because, like, we don't have anyone. How about I pay money for food? Because we were making lunch. We were making, we'd break for food. Like, it was a big thing.
It had nothing to do with the money. Because
no, it was just
people brought
tiring.
Stuff. And,
along. And like you said, it when it became more like, I had a friend who another family who was across the street from us who was also a homeschool family, and she was really excited about this. But as she was coming, she said, I don't think I want to be here anymore because I don't like how I feel. Like when the men start fighting and like really getting angry, and maybe you guys weren't angry, but like,
well, what happened?
Passionate about your points of view.
About the points of view.
It was making her like, she's like, I don't like this. But at the end of the day, everybody was friends,
but it just left such an energy in our house that after they left, it was like you had to sweep this crap out, literally.
Like
sometimes.
All this discord and fighting energy like out. So that's really why we ended up like, no thanks.
For us again, and so.
You think we learn our lesson sometimes with stuff, but you know what? I don't regret our journey because we wouldn't be where we are today, which we'll get to. We'll try to speed up here, but
I didn't like that. Looking back, I don't particularly like that part of our phase. However,
I don't know. I think it was just necessary for us.
It was absolutely necessary for me to get my head as free as.
Let's go back to what you said that pastor had told you when you were talking about this, because it did happen.
It got to be where you were actually checking out your friends to see if they were wearing their seats or not.
Just not even that, just anything. I mean, I remember looking down because I was so modestly dressed and head covering and just everything, that I started to look at women who weren't doing that as like whores of Babylon.
Right.
And like they have in God's nostrils, they're a stink and a stench, and he doesn't want anything to do with them. And just this level of pride that came from, I'm doing the right laws.
Pride is
probably not all of them, but I'm doing them. I'm doing more than my neighbor. So amazing. And there is a verse about that where Christ actually says, like, how you're the one, there's one guy at the wall that's like, thank God I'm not like my neighbor. And the guy who's actually humble and penitent on the ground is like, I'm so sorry, I'm a sinner. Yeah. Which one is the better to be? And it's not the guy standing up. And we were that person. We were those people. And I think we started to see that ugliness in ourselves. And really the pivotal question, I remember our house was closed. We were not meeting. And I met with you. We sat on the couch in the living room. And I said, looking at all these beliefs we were in. Also you mentioned our family.
Yeah.
Our family was some of our family who started seeing this and doing it with us.
And this also, right after this part, is when I got the call from my oldest daughter that she was having a baby. And so as I've said before, when
it's all talk until something comes.
It actually comes to your house. Yeah. And you find out, oh. And so what am I going to do? By all sense of my faith and religion at the time,
it was supposed to be a stoning offense of a woman getting pregnant out of marriage.
And all I could say is how happy I was for her.
Right.
And she wanted me to meet her now husband. And yeah, all I had was compassion for that. And that's kind of what... It's like
you realize the laws that we were supposed to be living by.
At that time, it was...
Screw it.
Let me tell you, if I was going to go to hell, fuck God, I'll go to hell because I wanted to see my babies.
Yeah, so. Grandbabies. And then I remember, like I said, going back to the question that I sat down and asked, I remember sitting and being like, is it really a sin? Are we going to go to hell
and so,
if we don't do X, Y, and Z? And one of them, the first question was like...
to be where, I'd rather be in hell with people I love than in heaven with these
people who are just like us. We're so prideful and so thinking we have it all together and we're the only chosen ones. And I mean, but we did. And I remember your first response to my question, is it really a sin if we don't wear seeped, which was the big thing in the Messianic world. And you got mad at first because I was like, Because if we didn't have that, then none of this matters.
Right.
Like, if we can't honor the little things, then we can't do the big things. And what are we doing? What does it matter?
Not one daughter
Yeah.
tittle will become off the law.
Forget it. And I remember you got mad, but then you calmed down and you're just like, I don't know the answer. Are we really going to go to hell if we don't do these things? And that's where we just said, we paused our button on all religion, I feel like.
Yeah.
And said, we need a break. We had never in our lives, I mean, from the moment we met, we were studying to grow more spiritually. But at this point, and we had never dove in so deep as that season of Messianic Judaism, that we needed a complete come up for air, get out of the church pools, get out of religion pool, and just dry off for a minute. That would be the best way I could say.
For more than a minute.
And we only got a couple minutes left here to kind of wrap it up. Like, we started taking a break from the Judeo-Christian foundations, which is really all of those were in that sect, I will say, or belief system. And we were looking at other alternative routes that we just were now in a place I think we felt free to explore other options. What is everyone else doing out there? What do they believe? And we ended up with that Morgan Freeman DVD,
and then
The History of God.
History, and finding out that every single religion says almost.
Oh my gosh.
The exact same thing.
I'm pretty sure that's the name of it, is the History of God series, like part 1 and part 2. We watched that and we were like, what?
Yeah.
We're all saying the same thing but calling it different names, and everyone thinks they have the market on it. Oh, no. So I think that was kind of the day that we said no more. We're not going to label ourselves.
No more religion. And
no more labels. No more
we started
identities.
To look for God.
Truth
In what we could actually see, touch, smell, even the scriptures we just kind of, I don't want to hear nothing about any Bible. I haven't actually opened the Bible. I don't even think I own a Bible right now.
I have mine. I still have mine and stuff, yeah.
I don't think I've opened the Bible. I actually asked ChatGPT the other day.
No.
Just if it could give me just the words
of the red
Christ,
letters,
of the red
kind of
letters,
thing. Yeah.
And you'd be surprised that I challenge any. No, maybe I shouldn't do that.
That's okay. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, just if people just followed those things,
the red letters.
I mean,
like what Christ said.
What they said, not the religious crap of having to do this, that, or pay. His truths, you would swear. That's a great start to live by. I mean, so...
It is. And that's where, coming full circle back around at this point of our lives, I will say we're in a much more free space than I've ever felt before, because we are in this position that... remember the bumper stickers that used to be really popular, and at church would be like, that's so horrible. It said coexist.
Coexist.
And it had all these major religion symbols.
I used to be upset about that.
Oh, yeah, we used to hate that.
Yeah, I think that...
I feel like that kind of summarizes where we are today. That we have come full circle, maybe not even full circle. When I say full circle, first full circle back to birth and just that innocence that was there and curiosity of a young child. That we're back to that, where I'm just curious. I mean, I love to hear about what your religion believes and what you believe and what are your sacred texts say, and where are real truth principles we can pull from here and everywhere. And if we stop putting up all these dividing walls between everyone's belief system, how much more harmony and peace do we have universally?
I challenge people to, like, the other day, we were actually talking to a Buddhist monk.
Right, yeah. Oh, he was awesome.
He is the funniest. And his ideas of truth.
Yeah.
There's something to look.
I wouldn't say we agree with everything,
No.
but we never agreed with every doctrine we've ever believed. There is no one solid
truth. If you're
truth.
agreeing with everything you and I don't agree on everything.
God.
So, I mean, it's just... Yeah, I don't even agree with myself some of the time. So
we have battles within our own self. So I feel like now, like, it's weird because I feel like I'm the same person I've always been. I'm still very spiritual, still very sensitive to, like, my environment, the people around me, the atmosphere, auras. But I'm way open to anything. Like, I mean, in my classes I'm taking for life coaching, that I had a birth chart reading and loved that experience. Like, I never would have touched that with a 10-foot pole 20 years ago.
I've researched some of the Wicca cool stuff.
Yeah.
Candle magic and circle magic.
Gems, oils,
so
chants,
much truth in energy and the things that of the past.
I follow Mia Magic, who is quote unquote a witch, but she is so amazing, so grounded, so powerful.
Some of the one of the biggest followers that I used to be in Christianity said this very same thing that I think holds in Christianity, there's a lot of truths.
What's that?
Eat the hay and spit out the sticks.
Yeah.
The nutritional things that you like.
Yeah.
And just because you sit down to dinner, we went out last night with our new acquaintance, and each one of us ordered something different.
Right.
Because we don't.
But we all sat at the same table.
and enjoyed the same meal.
Yeah.
Enjoyed
eating our meals. Yeah.
So there's truth in that there. I mean,
yeah.
So people vibe. You can and energize together. And
well, I've really adopted the motto from my life coach that says your vibe attracts your tribe. Yeah. And I believe that 100%. Yeah. We're just really connecting here where we're at with such amazing people. And since we've really left
our Zero View tribe.
No, not that tribe. I'm talking about physical people and friendships. We have met some great people on our journey.
You're out there. We know you're there. You'll be listening to us and saying, 0 views. That's
There's
crazy.
Millions
that never
now.
happened, did it?
So everyone starts at 0, okay? So I have no shame about it. I am fine. I don't care. But with this said, we're going to wrap it up here. We're at 31 minutes already here. And I just think that, like I said, I don't regret. There was a season that I was very ashamed of my past and all the things I did, all the things I preached, all the things I lived. And then now I've come to a place that I appreciate all of it because it's brought me here right now. And I think we could change our minds tomorrow and do something else. And I love that you're on that page with me. Because I remember we used to be like, did I make you believe this? Did I make you change?
Right.
Am I we each thought it was the other party because marriages divide over something like this of
many
spiritual beliefs.
That's one crazy thing about us is the roller coaster of change in beliefs. There's no, because
how we've kept up and stayed in the same cart.
The very friend of mine that we talked about.
Yeah, they're now divorced. Yeah, because like I said, when I told her my transition to dive in deeper into Messianic, she was getting out. Yeah. I would say, and even the guests that we have on coming up in the next few episodes, her spiritual beliefs cause her to have a divorce. So it's just if I can say that, grace of God, I'm not even sure, that we have stayed in the same car on the same roller coaster and done the ups and downs together. And I feel like we're just way more powerful than we were when we began.
That's right.
Here we go. What do you say your line as we sign off here?
Like, subscribe, and make a comment, and share.
Yeah, share this.
All those videos watchers out there.
Until next time, thank you so much for being part of Evolve. And this was our spiritual journey. It's our relationship, our truth. You might have a whole different story.
And we'd love to hear it.
And we'd love to hear it when people start hearing ours. Until next time, be evolving, people.